What is a strabismus or squint? Squint is a condition, not a disease, in which the two visual axes are not directed toward the fixatory object or fixation target. Squint may be divided into two categories: the heterophorias and the heterotropias. Heterophoria means the squint is not present all the time. It is present sometime. It is also called non-manifested squint. The tropias, heterotropias are the squint which is present all the time. Okay, which is a manifested type of the squint. Sometimes, in our clinics, the mother present, my child has uh, a deviation of eyes. When you examine as a doctor, as a postgraduate, a medical trainee, or as a consultant, at that time the squint is not present, the deviation is not present. That is a phoria actually. And what is the tropia? Tropias are present by the time the patient enters in your clinic. You will observe that you can easily observe that patient has a deviated eyes. That is basically a tropia. What are the causes of any pathology or any condition have some reasons, and here are the reasons for the squint. Squint can be congenital, can have a family history, or refractive error, like as I told you earlier, like myopia, hypermetropia, astigmatism. It could be due to trauma. The trauma, which can lead to the nerve palsy, or the trauma of the muscles itself, like extraocular muscles. As I told you, the nerve palsy, the thyroid eye disease, and the thyroid eye disease, there's a deposition of glycosamine, and the muscles. So the muscles fail, and that results in the uh, 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 in the squint and other cause Down syndrome. Classification: the strabismus can be classified into pseudo strabismus. Though apparently you will see that strabismus is a present, but it is a pseudo. It's a false. I'll tell you later on what are the conditions when you will find the pseudo strabismus. The other end is a latent or strabismus. Latent strabismus or heterophorias. As I told you earlier, these are the types of the squint which is not present all the time, which is unmanifested, and it manifests sometimes. And other one is the manifest strabismus or heterotropias. The heterotropias can further be classified into concomitant strabismus and concomitant strabismus. The heterophorias. Heterophoria is a condition of latent squint in which the deviation of the visual axis is present on dissociation of the two eyes, but is absent on the removal of dissociating factor. As I told you, the phorias are not present all the time. When it presents only when one eye is dissociated, or binocular single vision is dissociated. Heterophoria is classified according to the direction of the deviation. Schizophoria or latent convergent squint, a tendency of one eye to turn in relative to other. Exophoria or latent divergent squint. It is it is a tendency of one eye to turn out relative to the other. Later on, I will show you the pictures also, and that will make it clear. Hyperphoria or the latent or circumvergent strabismus, a tendency for one eye to turn up relative to the other. Cyclophoria or the latent torsional squint, a tendency of one eye to wheel rotate relative to the other eye. In cyclophoria, when the 12 o'clock of meridian of the cornea of the affected eye tends to lean toward the navel side or medial side. Acyclophoria is a condition in which when the 12 clock of meridian of the cornea of the affected eye tends to lean toward the temporal side or the lateral side. Heterotropia is a condition of manifest squint, which may not be present in all the direction of gazes in certain cases. The heterotropia may be classified in several different ways. One of the classification according to the direction of the deviation. Esotropia or manifest convergent strabismus, a turning in of one eye relative to the other eye. Exotropia or manifest divergent strabismus, a turning out of eye relative to the other eye. Heterotropia or manifest or circumvergent strabismus, a turning up of one eye relative to the other eye. Hypotropia or manifest uh, or diosumvergent strabismus, a turning down of the eye related to the other eye. Cyclotropia or manifest or torsional strabismus, a wheel rotation of one eye relative to the other eye. These are the conditions, as I told you, the manifested one, which is present all the time. Encyclotropia, when the 12 o'clock of meridian of cornea of the affected eye leans toward the navel or medial side. Excyclotropia, when the 12 o'clock of meridian of the cornea leans to the temporal side or the lateral side. It should be noted that vertical and the torsional deviation rarely occurs as an isolated phenomenon. A vertical deviation is usually associated with the horizontal deviation. A torsional deviation is usually associated with the vertical deviation. The classification based on the committancy, committant or committant squint. A committant squint is the one in which the one eye moves in complete or coordinated manner. Angle of deviation, which is present in a primary gaze, is maintained to an equal extent in all the directions. Angle of the deviation is equal in all the distance of the fixation. Angle of deviation is equal on fixation with the other eye. Complete committancy is rare. It is common for angle of squint to vary according to the direction of the gaze, particularly on vertical movement. Convergent deviation usually decreases on looking up and increases on looking down. A divergent deviation usually increases looking up and decreases on looking down. So this is the part of the presentation in which usually I'm interested. Since it's the online classes and we cannot see each other, so for to deliver it very well, the knowledge, the clinical skills that we have learned, one needs to be face to face. But in this picture, I show you how we examine the patient while patient present in our OPD. You can see the this picture. This is the normal. You can see we call it orthophoria. Orthophoria in which there is no deviation, and you can see these are the Hirschberg reflex or the light reflex. You can appreciate we in a primary gaze while looking patient looking straight ahead. We put a torch light on in front and uh, one in front of the patient, and we observe that reflex, the light reflex. When the light reflex is slightly present nasally, we call, and there's no deviation, we call it orthophoria. And there are, you can see the hypotropia. This is a straight eye, okay, looking straight, and you can see this tunnel, this brown dot. This is basically light reflex. You can see it is falling in between the pupil and this limbus. So this is a hypotropia. This is the hypertropia. You can see this is you can appreciate the light reflex, which is slightly nasal, and this is here in the right eye. You can appreciate uh, the dot or the reflex or the Hirschberg reflex is on the lower border of the pupil. So this is the hypertropia, eye turns up, and this is the exotropia, eye turns out. You can see this, eyes turning out, and limbus is almost touching the lateral uh, uh, canthus of the eye. And here the light reflex is not clear very much, but it should be like here on this pupillary border or between this or here. When this light reflex falls on the pupillary border, we categorize it or make a degrees of it. When it falls on the pupil, it's 15 degrees, and in between the pupil and the limbus here, somewhere here, it's a 30-degree, and on the pupillary limbus of the eye, this is the limbus of the eye. We uh, uh, we give it a degrees of 45. Okay. So this is the exotropia. And here you can see esotropia. The eye turns inward, touching the medial canthus almost. And light reflex should be here, somewhere here. Concomitant or non-concomitant squint. A non-concomitant squint or incomitant squint is one in which the eyes move in an uncoordinated manner, so that the angle of deviation varies in a different direction of gaze. The angle of deviation varies on changing the fixation from one eye to another. And angle of deviation varies in either eye. Concomitant squint is due to presence of paresis, partial failure of action, or paralysis, total failure of action of one or more extraocular muscles. As I told you earlier, the squint can be due to the paralysis of the muscles, which can be due to the nerve palsy or any restriction in the action of the muscles, like in thyroid eye disease. You know, as I told you, the ground substance deposits and the muscle swells up. Okay. Classification based on the duration of action. So duration is very important, and mostly in our clinics, okay, the duration, we value the duration more. So this classification is based on whether the heterotropy is a constant, which is present constant, means which is present all the time, or only occurs in certain circumstances or at certain times, like the usually mother complains in heterophoria, the heterophoria, the squint, which is not present all the time. The mother complains while playing outside or while playing after playing the my baby develop the squint, and okay, or after fever or after some after some work or like reading, my baby is developing squint. Otherwise, it is not present. So that is basically a phoria. A constant strabismus. A constant strabismus is the one in which there is a constant deviation of visual axis in all the direction of gaze, in all distance of fixation, and irrespective of which eye is used for fixation. Intermittent strabismus. An intermittent strabismus is a sometimes present and sometimes absent in same condition of vision, e.g., accommodative convergent squint. Okay, as I told you, the mothers complain, uh, you know, the squint is present sometime and sometime not. The periodic strabismus. A periodic strabismus is one in which the deviation occurs in certain circumstances.
सर आपकी आवाज़ थोड़ा ज़्यादा कट रही है, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा।
I'm trying my best. Can you hear me now?
यस सर।
Uh, intermittent strabismus and intermittent strabismus is sometimes present and sometimes absent in same condition of vision, like in an accommodative convergent squint. A periodic strabismus is a one in which the deviation occurs only in certain circumstances or after regular interval. Classification based on the laterality. Laterality means it's a unilateral or bilateral. A uniocular strabismus is the one in which the squinting eye is always the same, except under condition of testing, which force the squint eye to take up the fixation. A bilateral alternating. Okay, an alternating strabismus is the one in which the deviation may occur in either eye, in which there is no obvious preference for one eye to remain fixing eye. Means sometimes the deviation is present, like suppose sometimes the deviation is present in the right eye and the other time the deviation is present in the left eye. So it's alternating basically. It's alternate between the two eyes. As I told you earlier, the one of the type of the strabismus is a pseudostrabismus. Pseudostrabismus is basically a false squint. This term applied to a false appearance of the squint in the absence of any deviation, and it may occur under different conditions. Visual axes are aligned toward the fixation object. Any abnormality to leads, canthi, or orbit may lead to pseudostrabismus. This is the These are the two pictures which are showing the pseudo strabismus. So as I told you, strabismus or squint can be tropias or can be phorias. Okay, tropias are the type of the squint which is manifested and which is present all the time, and phoria is the type of the squint which is not present all the time. It manifests sometime when there's a break in the fusion of the eye or when one eye is dissociated. Okay, so here you can see pseudo esotropia. This eye. This is because of this fold, epicanthic fold. This is the epicanthic fold. Shorter interpupillary distance. It may be due to shorter interpupillary distance from one pupil to the other pupil. Negative angle, kappa. One is a visual axis, other is the anatomical axis. The angle between the visual axis and the anatomical axis is called the negative, is called the angle of the kappa. When it is angle, when the eye is toward the navally deviated, it becomes a negative. And when there the angle is, exotropia, it's called the positive angle of kappa. And this is the exotropia. You can see this, as I told you earlier, always try to look at the pupillary light reflex. You can appreciate here, the light reflex is on the border, here on the border. So it's the exotropia, but this is a false exotropia due to wide interpupillary distance. The distance between this pupil and this pupil, or positive angle kappa. So, which, as you know, for every condition there are certain clinical tests and there are laboratory investigations. But in a squint, apart from the concomitant squint, we have a clinical assessment. We rely totally on the clinical assessment. Number one assessment is the Hirschberg reflex. What is the Hirschberg reflex? As I told you, while patient is looking in straight ahead or in a primary position, we shine the light and observe the reflex of the light. It's normally in an orthophoric eye or in a straight eye. When there's no deviation, it should be slightly nasally. So you can see the two dots, either the light reflects or the torch shadows. You can see there. This is a Hirschberg reflex. And the cover uncover test. Cover uncover test and on uncover test. Okay, uncover test, we see the manifested squint. While covering the one eye, the other eye will take up the fixation. Suppose if somebody has deviation, like deviation, nasal deviation, esotropia in one eye, in right eye, if I'm trying to cover the left eye, the right eye will take up the fixation. Covering the left eye is known as a cover test. When covering the left eye, the right eye will take up the fixation. Okay. While uncovering, we observe for the 4 years the squint which is not presented all the time, and there are certain prisms, the prism test, and the one of the here is a Kremsky test, in which we put the prism in front of eye and we observe the eye, if whether the reflex, basically a reflex of the eye, whether eye is straightening or not, the reflex is become in medical terms, the eye become orthophoric or not. If, as I told you, if the light reflex is present on the pupillary border, it's a 15 degree, so we put the power of the prisms is in diopters. So we put the prism 30 prism diopter and we observe the eye, whether the reflex is becoming a orthophoric or not. Prism cover test. In the prism cover test, we keep the prism in front of the eye. While covering it, we increases it. Okay, it will tell you the total deviation. Because why to do this? Uh, you know, when we are going for the surgery, as I will tell you later about it. And other machine here, you can see the synaptophore. This is the other method in which this machine you need. This is synaptophore, which measures, which can do the BSC, binocular single vision. It measures the angle of the deviation. It measures the abnormal correspondence of the retina, and there's so many things you can do with this. This instrument is also present in our department. And as I told you, the Kremsky test, you can see here. This is used to centralize the corneal reflection in the squinting eye with compared to the fixing eye. Here you can see the eye is esotropic and this is a straight eye. While putting the prism in front of the eye, it becomes straight. Treatment or correction. Treat the cause of the squint. If the refractive error or spectacles, give the spectacles. Okay. The number one thing in the treatment of the, as I told you, the presentation is a very important. Most of these squints are due to the refractive errors. So we have to correct the refractive error first. For the refractive error, we have to give the glasses, okay, spectacles. Could be the as I told you, the refractive error could be the myopia. So you have to give the concave glasses. It could be due to hypermetropia, so you have to give the convex glasses or spectacles, or astigmatism, which could be a hypermetropic astigmatism or myopic astigmatism. For that, we have to give the slender. Nerve pulses, rule out its cause and referral to the neurologist. As I told you, the most of the squint is clinically assessed, but the concomitant squint where we need investigation or MRI, like in the nerve pulses, we order the MRI of the brain to rule out any pathology, any tumor, any ischemic or any hemorrhagic attack, hemorrhagic strokes, or any infection. Okay, so these are and we have to take neurologists on board as well. Okay, and the metabolic diseases can also cause it. As I told you, thyroid eye disease or hyperthyroidism, okay, which can also lead to this. What is the surgical correction? The surgical correction is a resection and recession of the muscle. Resection is basically a strengthening procedure, and recession is a weakening procedure. When when the eye is in esotropia, means the eye is deviated inward. What we do, we uh, according to our assessment and according to the uh, squint, okay, we have to you know measure the degrees, and we have to make sure how much the millimeter we have to do the recession and the resection. And suppose, as I told you, the esotropia, we recess the medial rectus muscle. So if the muscle medial rectus is strong, that's why the eye is inward. So we weak it, we recess it, and lateral rectus resection. If the lateral rectus is uh, weak, so the eye is deviated inward. So we strong strengthen, we give strong the muscle by resecting it. Okay. And the other thing is amblyopia. Amblyopia is a condition in which there is no any organic disease in the eye, but the patient has a decreased vision. It amblyopia amblyopia, it can occur due to squint or due to any cataract, any late tumor, which basically obstruct the uh, visual pathway, and that deprives the eye to the external world, and which results the amblyopia. Eye has uh, no basically any organic disease, but due because of the eye is not seeing, or eye the brain is confused because of a squint or because of any cataract, because of uh, any lid tumor, the eye become a lazy. The brain diffuses that image. Okay, so we have to prevent that amblyopia, especially in young children. We patch the good eye, which is a straight eye, which is seeing eye, which has normal vision, and we make the lazy eye to work more. Okay, thank you. If any question, please.